The British Parliament passed the Act to abolish slavery in 1833. The Act took effect a year afterward in August of 1834. What the Act did was to throw down a gauntlet to Bahamian society. That gauntlet took the form of a question: on what terms would persons who had been enslaved and other people who had been subordinated in the society now be allowed to participate in the economy and in the overall life of the colony in this new dispensation without slavery? It was the Bahamian landholding and merchant class in the form of the House of Assembly, which the British allowed to participate in that conversation as to what the new regime would look like.
In 1888, L.D. Powell, a stipendiary magistrate assigned to the Bahamas, had this to say about the truck system. He described it as nothing more than another form of slavery. He described it as a way in which the black laboring class is grinded to the ground and oppressed by the white Nassau merchant. So what exactly was the truck system? The truck system was a system of creating a debt peonage or cycle of debt and dependency. What it basically meant was that those working in the maritime industries, particularly salt and sponging, had to go to the Nassau merchant and borrow on credit in order to get the supplies, in order to sponge. Of course, this was a gentleman's agreement, not on paper, just a shake of a hand, or what they would call seaman's article. And so that basically meant that you created a debt cycle where you basically gave people credit and expected something in return. Well, what was in return? According to this gentleman's agreement, 2/3 of the sponges that would have been retrieved from the sponge bed had to be given back to the merchant. 1/3 was left to the sponger. And so he ended up essentially giving back the third that he had kept for himself in order to provide food for his family. That same system, the truck, was replicated on land, and it was called the share system. And you would have seen it in pineapple industry, you would have seen it in citrus, you would have seen it in other areas where you had cultivation on land. My whole argument, as you can see just from these two examples in the labor systems that emerged during slavery but was formalized and amplified after 1838. And so while freedom may have been achieved on paper in 1834, surely the rights that should have been afforded, the liberties that should have been guaranteed, had to be fought on a continuous journey for freedom that emanates even to this day in 2022.
Vagrancy laws in the 1800s, even before emancipation, the aim and intention of them was to really control and monitor poorer people. And for the Bahamas, those would have been black people. For the Bahamas, from the early 1800s, from about 1811 up until about 1860, the Bahamas had several thousand liberated Africans who were rescued from ships who were caught trading African captives illegally. They were resettled in the Bahamas. Many of them, because in the contracts that were made to monitor their life after they were resettled in the Bahamas, they were required to learn a trade. And that requirement meant that as adults, they had a level of skill and training that put them in a better position to be a part of the very small Bahamian middle class. The majority of working class Bahamians were in a type of economic slavery.
This video has been brought to you by the Antiquities, Monuments, and Museums Corporation, the principal heritage authority of the Bahamas. My short tenure as chair thus far has shown me that AMMC is comprised of archaeologists, preservation architects, and historians, and other executives, all of whom are committed and dedicated to both preserving and uplifting Bahamian heritage. Team AMMC has also heard the cry from you, the general public, for even more to be done relative to Bahamian heritage, and we are ready, willing, and able to meet that call with your help. You can support Bahamian heritage by, firstly, following our social media pages so you're always aware of our events and happenings, donating to AMMC, and visiting our heritage sites, Pompey, Balcony House, and of course, our forts. We hope this video has caused you a moment of reflection. Where are we on our freedom journey? Where do we want to go? The answer to these questions are better informed with a good grasp of our past. Journey with us. Thank you.